Wrapping it up on SportsBIT, Betting Insight today. Time for the deep dive. MLB win totals, world openers, Atlantis in Reno. Doing a good job there. They put these out last year as well. Let's start with the Red Sox, Teddy. And they gutted the farm system. They traded all the talent, all their prospects to get Chris Sale. Let's start with the Red Sox. What do you think?
Sure. I mean, yeah, and the Atlantis in Reno has been putting up the first entire card of MLB win totals for many years. It wasn't just last year. They've been doing it for a while, so we like to give them credit. The books that come out first and create virgin numbers that we can bet into, we like those books more than the books that copy the numbers after they've already been bet into place. Now we talk about Boston, lined at 90.5 wins. This is a team that won 93 games last year. They weren't even any good. I mean, there's three factors to consider for Boston. They say, you lose Big Pappy. Obviously, that's enormous. But if Pablo comes in and can play, and Mitch Moreland comes in and can play, and they got Moreland on a friendly deal, a guy who has enormous potential at Fenway. If Sandoval and Moreland come in, that's Big Pappy production taken care of. And then you bring in a guy like Chris Sale. I mean, that's an ace and a half to go along with David Price at the top of that rotation. And perhaps most importantly, when you look at teams, you're projecting full season, you have to try to handicap them when it comes to the All-Star break. They're going to be buyers or they're going to be sellers. And it doesn't matter. If Boston's 3 games under 500 at the break, they're going to be buyers. They're 5 games under 500 at the break, they're going to be buyers. This team will get better. So, yeah, I think there's a lot to like about Boston at 90.5. We'll talk about the Red Sox a little bit later when it comes to play of the daytime.
And then you have the Cubbies. Remember our friend Tony Miller at the Golden Nugget opened 97.5. Atlantis and Reno has them 95.5. Chapman out. They trade for Wade Davis. They also they lose Hamill. Montgomery figures to be in the rotation as well. As you said yesterday, Teddy, last week rather, I mean, the pitching staff was unbelievable. Can Lester do it again? Can Hendricks do it again? Arrieta was dynamite in the first half, and then he fell off. But you wonder about the honeymoon stage and the hangover stage, because it's not like the fans and media are going to be all over them if they get off to a slow start. They ended the drought. They finally won for the first time since 1908, and in a pretty good division. It's hard to win 96, 97 games.
Sure, and Chicago knows they can come back from adversity as well, so home field may not be as important for them as it might be for some other teams. I'm with you on being a little bit bearish on the Cubs when it comes to season wins.
All right, how about the Rangers, who were unbelievable in one-run games?
Well, yeah, I mean, it's a team that won 95 games last year. They had 82 expected wins. All right, when you look at the stats, the advanced metric stats. So 36-11 in one-run games, Paulie. That's pretty hard to do. They're lined at 86.5 this year. So we're not talking about an enormous drop-off from last year, but a significant one. They won 95, and they're saying there should be 8.5 games less or down from where they were a year ago. But I've got all kinds of concerns about this pitching staff. They're long on potential. But you have Darvish, Martin Perez, two guys who are both, coming back from Tommy John surgery, not 100% last year. You have Andrew Cashner and Tyson Ross, two more starters who have significant injury concerns. Ross isn't going to be ready to start the season either, so who's going to be their 5th starter? You have a couple of bullpen guys, Keone Kela, Tanner Scheppers, also significant injury concerns from last year. Jake Dykman's out until at least the All-Star break. You have a bunch of guys in the World Baseball Classic getting extra innings on their arms as well. I got my concerns about Texas and their pitching staff. And we talk about Chicago and we talk about the Rangers, the Cubs and the Rangers. In my mind, those two teams with their potent lineups and some of the question marks on the pitching staffs, I'm going to be looking to bet the Cubs and the Rangers over the total on a day-in, day-out basis, at least early in the season.
All right, and how about the Dodgers? 91.5. Again, tough division. The offense should be there, but look at this filthy pitching staff. This is ridiculous. You go Kershaw, Rich Hill, then Maeda. Then you get all these other guys fighting for the other spots in the rotation. Ryu could be back, Urias, Wood, Kazmir, Stripling, Stewart, and McCarthy. You get the ball to Jansen. That's going to be you shut the door there in the 9th inning as well. I mean, look at their 1, 2, 3. Let's say they put the Phenom in there with Urias, and you get Ryu healthy, who was their number 2, number 3 a couple of years ago before he hurt his arm. I mean, look at how sick is that rotation for the Dodgers.
Yeah, Dodgers lined at 91.5 wins. They're the 3rd highest team based on the numbers from Atlantis, and I agree with that. Cubs, Indians, Dodgers. That's the way I rank them. as well from an initial power rating standpoint. One more team I want to talk about. Let's talk about Kansas City. You know, a team that won the World Series 2 years ago. And last year wasn't quite so pretty. Their line is a sub-500 team. 80.5 for the campaign. And I can see why the number's just dropping and dropping. Last year, the number dropped on Casey. They expected him to come into the pack, just the standard reversion to the mean. This year, man, there's a ton of question marks on that team. You know, you have the rookie, Whit Merrifield, that's supposed to be batting leadoff. He's a question mark initially. You have Moustakas and Alex Gordon and Lorenzo Cain all coming off lousy injury-plagued season. How many of those guys bounce back? You know, you have the big offseason ads, you know, Jose Soler, Brandon Moss. Those guys could strike out 400 times between them. You look at their bullpen. Remember that elite bullpen? Not anymore. Loaded with questions. And, of course, the death of Yordano Ventura this past offseason, killed in a car accident in his native Dominican Republic. A tragedy that will affect them in the locker room as well as on the field. Kansas City's come back to the pack. I think their little window might be over. I'm not particularly bullish on the Royals.
Yeah. Remember when the Twins were good and made the playoffs almost every year?
Yeah.
Wow. 70.5 again, and then you got the Padres at 64.5 as well. Total rebuild mode in that one in San Diego. Hey guys, for the full video, go to sbrpicks.com.
Research before you bet. Be sure to check out SBR Picks for the best game predictions, breakdowns, and much, much more.